there guys, thanks for visiting my movie vlog. My name's John Campea, and Star Wars The Last Jedi has just exploded into movie theaters, taking in the second biggest opening weekend in film history with $220 million. The question now becomes, how will the film do on its second weekend? Now, normally in movies' second weekends, you'd like to see them take somewhere between a 50 to 55% drop from their first weekend, maybe even a little bit less if you can. But I'm here to tell you my 4 reasons why I believe that Star Wars The Last Jedi will drop 60% or more in its second weekend. Now, these 4 reasons are in no particular order, but let's start off with this one. Reason number 1 that I believe Star Wars The Last Jedi will drop 60% or more is the sheer amount of money it would need to make in its second weekend to avoid it. Now, at $220 million on its first weekend, simple math tells us that to drop only 50% means it needs to make $110 million in its second weekend. To drop less than 60%, it minimum needs to make around $90 million on its second weekend. Okay, John, it needs to make $90 million. Well, there's a problem with that. Only 4 films in cinematic history have ever made $90 million or more on their second weekend. We're talking about Disney's own Beauty and the Beast, which made $90 million, Marvel's The Avengers, which made $103, Jurassic World, which made $106, and the juggernaut Star Wars The Force Awakens, which made almost $150 million in its second weekend. Now, obviously, that's not to say that it can't be done, but when you have to get a number that only 4 other films in film history have ever accomplished, that stacks the odds against you a little bit. Reason number 2, I think this movie will take a 60% or greater drop in weekend number 2 is simply this. The more money you make on opening weekend, that means the more people who went to go see it and the less there are who still need to come out to see it. When $220 million worth of people go out to see it on opening weekend, that's a lot of people who've now seen the movie already and they're less likely to come back on week number 2. Now, there have been many examples over film history of big giant hits on opening weekend that were able to muster up a lot of people to come back the second weekend. Obviously, this doesn't preclude it at all in any way, shape, or form. It's just one more thing to keep in mind. The third reason I think this movie will take a 60% or greater drop in its second weekend is this. While it is killing it at the box office and a lot of people love this movie, there's also a bunch of people that do not like this movie. There's a lot of negative buzz out there from people who didn't like it. They are very vocal about the fact that they didn't like it. And sure, there are a lot of people who did, but there are people who didn't. And when they talk, other people will listen. Again, by itself, this isn't going to cause a lot of harm, but added in with the other things, it's definitely going to have an effect. And finally, the 4th reason I believe that Star Wars The Last Jedi will take a 60% or greater drop in its second weekend is this. Competition. Now, every movie that's big or small has to face some competition in week 2. However, Star Wars The Last Jedi is facing some stiff competition. No less than 3 significant films are opening up this week against Star Wars The Last Jedi. First of all, we've got Pitch Perfect 3. Pitch Perfect franchise has made over $400 million at the box office, and their trajectory has been going up. The last Pitch Perfect film opened with almost $70 million on its opening weekend. Also, we've got Hugh Jackman's The Greatest Showman, which has a lot of people excited. And the third film has probably the most bankable star in Hollywood today, The Rock in Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. All those things put together mean Star Wars The Last Jedi has to face some pretty stiff competition in its second week. You add that on top of the fact that there's some negative word of mouth out there, on top of the fact that a lot of people have already seen the movie, and on top of the fact that this thing needs to make $90+ million just to fall less than 60%, it looks like the odds are stacked against it. Look, any one of these 4 reasons is probably overcomeable, maybe even any 2, but I believe 4 of these reasons stacked together makes it very doubtful that Star Wars The Last Jedi can take less than a 60% drop in its second weekend. If it does it, I think that's going to be absolutely remarkable. I just think we need to prepare ourselves that the drop is going to be much more significant than that. But anyway, that's just my thought on this. What do you think about it? Do you think there are more reasons I'm forgetting about why this movie might drop more than that? Do you have some counter arguments as to why you think it'll drop less than 60%? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Hey, listen guys, while you're here, why don't you take a second, click on that subscribe button, become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. Make sure you leave a thought or comment below. Click the thumbs up button and just follow me on social media. Right here, you can see it just at John Campea. That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me, and until the next video, bye-bye.